Hey everybody, welcome back. Like I said last week, this week I'm just going to build a quick and easy workbench. I don't have one. I left it at my other house because I just didn't have room to move it. But in the essence of time, so that I can start working again, this is going to be really simple. It's going to be made from, I don't know, about 4 2x4s and some scrap MDF that I had laying around. So it's going to be 27 inches wide by 60 inches long, and construction is extremely simple. On the good side of it, it will be inexpensive. So we appreciate you watching. If you like it, share our video, share our channel, and if you haven't subscribed, we'll ask that you do so. Now let's see how we can put this thing together. Thanks for joining. Okay, I cut 4 pieces for the sides and for the ends of what's going to be the frame for the stand. And now I'm set up my chop saw to cut a rabbet. I'm cutting half the depth of the 2x4. And still unpacking. I haven't found my dado blades yet, so I used my chop saw to cut this rabbet. If you're not comfortable with this or have never done it, I wouldn't advise that you do this, but I've done it many times and I'm pretty comfortable with doing it. And it does a fairly good job for these rough applications, such as this workbench. And now we start the assembly process. I'm using the rocker clamp it to hold things square, and I just put glue in the rabbet joint and drill some pilot holes, and then I'm going to run a 2.5 inch deck screw in 2 places. I'll do this on all 4 corners that you'll see, and it turned out to be pretty stable. Again, remember, this is a quick and easy build. Now we'll attach the legs, just using my carpenter square there to make sure it's all squared up. And I'll just drive 2 deck screws into each side. We'll come back in a moment and put some cross braces through, as you'll see. I ended up not using all the 2x4s that I cut, at least on this project. And here we are putting in cross braces on the end, just pre-drilling and then running the 2.5 inch deck screws in. Haven't found my Craig jig yet, so I just angle drilled some pilot holes and then ran some deck screws in at a 45, and it to put this brace across the bottom. That supported the bottom, and now we just run a couple of braces across the top. And for the top, I'm just using a piece of scrap MDF that I had laying around, and I'm spacing it so it overhangs the back side about 3/4 of an inch. I've got intentions of maybe putting a tool well in there later. I'm not sure. If I do, I want it to hang over the proper amount. And I'm just screwing it down to the frame that you just saw us build. Using a paint can and just laying out the round over some corners, and then I'll come back with my jigsaw. We'll cut those rounded corners off. Now round over all the edges with my sander just to soften them up a little bit, and then smooth out that rounded cut that I just made on each corner. Just to ease the edges enough to not feel uncomfortable when you bump it. And then lastly, we'll put on
a coat or two of water-based polyurethane to seal it and to help glue not stick to it or whatever, just to give it a final little finish. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in for this simple build of this workbench. Like I said, I didn't have one, so I had to throw something together pretty quick so I could do other things in the shop. This will probably be the last shop build video we'll do, and because I've still got a lot of organizing to do and some things of that nature, but it's time to get on to some pen making and some other woodworking projects. We appreciate you following this series of builds, and hope you've enjoyed it, gave you some insight. Now, this was not the ideal way to build a workbench. I'll build a better one a little later on when I've got time. I may come back and put another layer of MDF on the top, but I don't know, we'll see how it works out. You noticed in the video it was kind of shaky there when I was putting the legs on it. Well, one of the legs was sitting on a screw, which was making it bounce around a little bit. I'm sure a lot of you are saying, oh my goodness, what is he what is he doing? But it's pretty stable, and it'll work for a short period of time. Glad you tuned in. Appreciate you watching, and until next week, stay safe, everybody.